Hello there, welcome. This is Deana with Impressive Warrior, here to do the daily Dharma once again. So at the time of this broadcast, this is Friday, and on Fridays after the daily Dharma, based upon the cards that we throw, I leave them out on my desk, and I stop the recording, restart, and do a sign-by-sign quick read. So each sign Aries all the way through Pisces. And sometimes it can be a 5-minute per sign read. Other times it's closer to 15. So you'll see that broadcast will be a longer video, like a 2-hour or so. So check that out if you want. That is a you versus them reading about what is going on with you and a person or situation of interest in your life. So those are a little bit more sign-specific readings and a little bit different. We use tarot instead of the oracle, so you get a little bit more 3D reading. We have our first Tao Te Ching message popping out, 55. It's a master number of change. He who is in harmony with the Tao is like a newborn child. Its bones are soft, its muscles are weak, but its grip is powerful. It doesn't know about the union of male and female, yet its penis can stand erect. So intense is its vital power. It can scream its head off all day, yet it never becomes hoarse. So complete is its harmony. The Master's power is like this. He lets all things come and go effortlessly, without desire. He never expects results, thus he is never disappointed. He is never disappointed, thus his spirit never grows old. So that beginner's mind has been coming out a lot. And in fact, just before I pressed the start to record, I was thinking of another one of the Tao Te Ching messages that was talking about, we had it recently, something about I'm like an infant who hasn't learned to smile yet. Talking about being in that point of simplicity instead of complexity and responsiveness, reactionary, emotional chaos, right? Being in the flow is like that, having such harmony that it's effortless, right? So it's so interesting. Bones are soft and muscles are weak. It reminds me of the massive weeping willow tree that has quite a weak and flexible, supple branch. You know, it just sways. It's like a whip. You know, if you're not familiar with that tree. But its grip is powerful, and being like that, even if you break the willow, it can regenerate from a twig, it can regenerate from any part of its bark that's left standing. So its grip on this earth is very powerful in that way. And so this part about doesn't know the union of male and female, this to me is an important part of this, and it always strikes me, what are they trying to talk about? And it's that vital power of flow. So not being caught up in the polarity, the duality of male and female, not knowing about the stereotypes, the roles, and the attraction that is supposed to be meaningful and convoluted with all this chaos energy. Not knowing about that, the being can be unapologetically just in the flow once again, and have that vitality and that creative essence is just pulsing through the entire beingness. And it says so intense then, it can scream its head off all day and never become hoarse. It's so completely in harmony. When we're in harmony, we can, like when you're doing something that you love, you can just go and go and go and lose hours at a time doing this this thing that you love, or in a great conversation, or something like that, right? The time, it's in a place of timelessness where time just is a non-issue and you can just go and go. But when you're doing something that you don't want to do and you're focused on that and focused on the should, would, the good, bad, and and that feeling of not wanting to do something, it's like we're not in the flow. If we have to do something, flow with that, right? Because when we're in resistance, in tension energy, it exhausts us and drains us of our vitality and energy. Under the deck, we have 39. In harmony with the Tao, the sky is clear and spacious. The earth is solid and full. All creatures flourish together, content with the way they are, endlessly repeating themselves, endlessly renewed. When man interferes with the Tao, the sky becomes filthy, the earth becomes depleted, the equilibrium crumbles, creatures become extinct. The master views the parts with compassion, because he understands the whole. His constant practice is humility. He doesn't glitter like a jewel, but lets himself be shaped by the Tao, as rugged and common as stone. So that one always makes me feel a certain way about my humanity. I don't know if you felt that yourself, but it says those things not because man is what creates filth and dirt. It's our interference with the flow. It's like, oh, we can do this faster, we can do this better. But then what is the byproduct of that process? What is the what is also created when we're trying to take shortcuts and trying to resist the flow and ease the tension in false ways, right? So yeah, this something about simplicity. Okay, so splitting the shamanic mixed decks to the namesake of one deck, the mystical shaman, and wailing tree reconciliations from the other deck. So there's someone who is having some resurgence, or I'm okay. All right, I'm seeing this as the past, the shadow essence of working through any baggage or anything like that, any pain or suffering. And then this mystical shaman seems to be casting our intentions to the future. I don't know if you can make it out, but his face here is projected forward, and then this thing here is a casting forward, a smoke. It's coming from his mouth as if, you know, he's smoking like some sacred tobacco or something, and he's casting himself forward in this way outwards towards his future. So something about timelines here I'm sensing, because we're already talking about the newborn, we're talking about endlessly repeating themselves, endlessly renewed. So it's something about the rebirth process here as well. So rebirth and timelines. The next split, we have thunder with wailing tree. So what are you reconciling here? There's some kind of thunder is like the rumbling that comes before that lightning strike. And so there's some kind of, maybe we're projecting something out into the future so that we can conjure or manifest something, and we're feeling the rumblings coming towards us. We're getting that feeling of either excitement or anxiety or just a little bit of mixed emotions maybe. But it seems like there's something here with a convergence of timelines here. Let's just keep going and we'll see what the cards have to say here. So few popping out. I'll show these in just a second. All right, I'll take that. Okay, and under here, I'm seeing the Sky Dancers, Surrender, Feast of Plenty, Choices and Their Consequence, Unmarked Trail, Revelation, Tidy House, Clarity and Organization, and Dragon's Hoard, Protecting the Future, showing themselves under the deck. I think I'll leave them just like that. So let me show you what came out here. So the first card we have is Galactic Mushroom, number 24, the Divine Matrix. Next, 41, New Beginnings, Moon Maiden. Hummingbird, number 26. This to me comes through with some ancestral support, very subtle, high vibrational energy, followed by Dream Thief, number 13, 38, Many Masks, The Authentic Self, and 32, Jeweled Web, Connectivity. I'm noticing right away that there's a lot of green in the readings, or in the reading today, with the exception of Dream Thief and Many Masks here, which seem to be the more third dimensional call-outs, I'll say. So let's start at the beginning. I kind of see this galactic mushroom today. I usually see it as an emerging, but I'm seeing this guy almost shrinking back, sinking back into something. And then the Moon Maiden here, to me, looks like she is pushing up out of the abyss with some type of super moon behind her. We do have a full moon coming up in Aquarius, but this one, it's with New Beginnings and Moon Maiden. It seems like they're talking about the new moon, but depicted, the picture is a full moon. Well, I guess it's just moon energy in general. The moon doesn't actually change shapes, right? So I'm sensing that there's this, there's timing at play here. We already determined that, and I'm sensing that the galactic mushroom here is talking about in the past, because of things that seemed beyond your control, or circumstances, or, you know, we just had a several year bout with everything being quite different than what we were used to years ago, and all of a sudden everybody's in a completely different mindset as far as like tending to their immunity, going out in social situations and connecting with other individuals, and then the different ideologies that come from that, the different regulations and things. And that could be part of it as well, those circumstances. It can be financial, but it seems more cosmic than material, I'll say. But this galactic mushroom, I think, talks about whatever the circumstance, something where we've approached some manifestation, some long-held dream, some efforting that we were about to partake in, about to break through, about to blow the top off of something. And then before that point of arrival, there was a retreat into the safety zone, the comfort zone. I don't know if that was a comfortable job relationship or just a comfort zone of not pushing yourself beyond your limits. but it seems that the timing was perfect for you to do that. There was something that was essential to the process for you to retreat back into yourself and wait it out for some type of reason. And the divine timing is not all about the universe presenting you with the right opportunities at the right time. It's also about your preparation and your readiness and your confidence and your ability to push beyond your comfort zone, to believe in yourself, to have that self-worth, and to affirm yourself, and to not let yourself be deterred by your perceptions or the reality of multiple seeming failures. But the word failure is so charged with that belongs to me. I am ashamed of not succeeding. You know, like, I'll just use myself and this channel as an example. I started my channel 5 years ago. I was called to do it. I was channeling quite a bit, and I couldn't tweet it out fast enough. I couldn't write the words out fast enough. And then once I did, I found that when I am a writer, that people can't really follow what I'm talking about. I would try to edit things and make things sound better. And in doing so, I kind of lost the impact and the simplicity and the relatability. And when you speak verbally, there's this intonation, there's the excitement and the passion that comes through. And even if people don't understand the word that you're using, the way that you use it verbally makes so much more sense. Because then they're like, excuse me, you can see if somebody is grumpy or if somebody is saying this in a self-defeating way, or if somebody's really like, yeah, well, you know, I really am good with this and I'm ready to move forward, instead of that sarcasm or whatever, right? So maybe you were using the wrong outlet for your dream to come to fruition or something like that. The wrong platform, that's the word I'm looking for. Like, for instance, I was referring to tweeting and writing things out on like a Facebook or an Instagram, where then you also have those restrictions on the number of characters and words that you can use, the number of images you can use, and then they have the algorithms. And are you able to break through the algorithm to even have yourself and your messages heard by the right people? You know, because on many of these platforms, people have their feed just full, because of the algorithm, of just garbage tweets, you know, and people that literally steal their material and copycat material and don't quote it or anything else. And people are like, oh, wow, this person's so profound. And, you know, all they are is a mouthpiece for their art. They're not really the creator. They're a co-creator, because then they're putting it in. It's like somebody who's doing paper mache or something like that. You know, they're taking different pieces of somebody else's work, like a newspaper, and then they're doing something else to it, squishing it, forming it, and making it into, sculpting it into something artistic, something that's meaningful and personal to themselves. And so I started the channel, and then somewhere thereafter there were a few broadcasts, and then there was this need for retreat. Many things needed to happen, and apparently many years had to pass, which was quite unexpected. That's better. So there was something that called you back into yourself to reevaluate the approach, reevaluate the craft or whatever you're doing here. And this was divine timing to help you to be prepared, to help you to face different parts of your shadow to feel more comfortable moving forward, and etc. You can see through these situations for yourself, whatever your particular situation is. And now it's as though, okay, this is like this mushroom is very well, to me it looks a little squishy and poofy, but it's still more of a solid, I would say, than the water that this person is immersed in. So whatever you've been immersed in, I feel like before it was more like this shell that encapsulated, and once you broke out of that shell and started doing something that was a risk to your vulnerable inner authentic self, and whether you tried to do it with a mask or whether you tried to do it with your authentic self, it was like that moment of breakthrough, that moment of emergence. It seems like it was like a whole new world, a whole new experience where suddenly, and we've been talking about this too, where suddenly you're able to grow up and rise up above something that you couldn't see beyond before. It was like that encapsulation was the shell. It's like the shelter of the early childhood home or something. And then having tried to emerge, then retreating back in. And because of the work that you've been able to do, transmuting your pain, and I feel with all this green energy, spending some time getting to know your inner nature, and spending time perhaps for many of you in nature, immersed in nature, maybe even changing jobs or environments so that you had more nature surrounding you. And during that process, there's a heart chakra activation. With all of this green, I definitely am feeling Archangel Raphael and the healing cup of self-love and that watery essence. So with New Moon Maiden, we're feeling that call, we're re-emerging, and to me it seems that there's a new push, there's a new awareness, there's newfound clarity. See how clear this is, and how small this little piece of the world was, how small the environment was. It wasn't conducive to enormous expansion and growth. But then from this tiny little capsule, this little seed perhaps, from that seed, here we have this angelic being pushing up through the veil, through those cosmic waters. And she's got a slight smile, and there's stars all around her. It's like the enormity of this transition for you should not be overlooked or taken for granted. Really congratulate yourself on the healing and the resilience it takes you to go and push through those comfort zones in whatever manner it is in your personal circumstance. But with all of this heart chakra energy, I may be speaking to a group of people that are healers, that are maybe therapists, counselors, some type of therapeutic people, maybe massage therapists or musical therapists, something along those lines. And you could do it less formally as well, but there's a healing energy that is coming through, that wants to come through your hands, through your voice, through your eyes and your essence and your divine light. And so I feel like when there was this initial push, it was like, oh, there's more healing necessary. There's still ego issues that need to be resolved and integrated and loved back into inclusion within your energy field. And so it's like pushing through this stagnant waters, retreating, and then now that those waters have cleared, the dust has settled, there's this new breakthrough. And I believe that this is saying by the time of some moon cycles here. So the moon takes 28 days. So at the time of this broadcast, again, we've got the next full moon happening August 11th. And then from there, I'll also say, every month we've got our new moon, full moon. But then coming up end of October, early November, we've got the solar and lunar eclipses happening again. And those are going to be even more profound. So the efforts that you're making now, taking those small steps to follow your guidance and your intuition, however small, can really create breakthroughs, even if you cannot see the way forward. Like, I'll put myself out there once again. So in my circumstance, I'm wanting to generate income, right, for myself. And in so doing, I want to develop my craft. However, at the very beginning of something, you may need extra skills, you may need extra money before you get your clientele in the door, all of this stuff, right? And so for me, I hate to spend money, but I needed to get some stuff. Cats are out of food, I gotta get some food. And I passed by this place where this lady, an older lady, has her beautiful flower gardens all over her yard, and she turned it into a business years ago, and I haven't been there for years myself, and I just was compelled to stop there today. And I was on my way to an appointment, so I slowed down. I'm like, oh, if I stop for plants, I'll never make it, because me and plants. So I went, got my stuff, did my appointment, came back through, and I passed it again, and I thought, why am I passing this? Clearly I want to stop. Clearly it's calling to me. Yeah, I don't want to spend money on plants because I already just spent some at the big store with plants, which I shouldn't have, judging myself. And I'm like, you know what? I'm doing it. I'm called to do it. I'm doing it. And so I turned myself around. I went there. Immediately she greets me and introduces herself, and we start talking flowers. She's like, oh, you know your stuff. And she gives me a tour. She starts giving me some plants, some shrubs, and some bushes, and some little trees. And I bought a couple things. I got out of there for $24, and so I gave her $25. I'm like, you gave me a bunch of free stuff, keep that. And then she also further had asked me what I do. And then this led to a situation where she wants to barter more plants for my services. New client, thank you, universe. And she also has this thing that she does where she helps people that are either sick or elderly, for whatever reason, incapacitated, and can no longer take care of their gardens. She and a small group of other individuals go and assist these people in taking care of their gardens. And there's pay involved. So merely by following my intuition, I gained several solutions that I didn't even see coming. But I was in the receptive mode. I was ready to receive. I was excited about plants. I'm thinking about how they're going to look. I'm putting myself at the end goal, like, ooh, I'm not going to think about the money and the limitations. I'm going to think about the beauty I'm creating and the money that I'm saving by buying these little things and putting them in now. Then those seeds expand, and eventually I'll have plenty of plants to add to my garden repertoire and sell those as well, right? So take this for your own situation, your own craft. It's like, don't be dismayed by the illusion of needing patience and getting like, oh, I don't have the resources, I don't have the money, I don't have this, I don't have that, because I don't want a real job. I don't want to have somebody breathing down my neck and telling me what I can and can't do. I want to do something that makes me feel good, that serves others and makes others feel amazing. And there we go. I got it. It's coming. And so if you haven't gotten your opportunity yet, just maybe get out of your comfort zone just slightly. Go someplace that feels good, someplace not where you're expecting. Expectation isn't what brings in that receptive mode. putting yourself in the feeling flow of enjoyment, and just speaking to people, being engaged with others, and taking interest can really unlock something for you. And I feel like that's what this card is talking. It's about those subtle reminders, those subtle little cues that say, you know, don't you want to plant today? You know I do, universe. And by following that little urge, that desire, and that passion for plants that I hold, there was my gift from the universe. Some people might say, oh, that's not a gift, that's just a coincidence. But I don't believe in coincidences. I only see synchronicity, right? And so 13 Dream Thief is like that, the refusal of the call. It's confusing that to me that it comes after I see these messages coming through. It's like, I think that it's a forewarning to watch ourselves and to not become distracted or disillusioned by a slow build, by things that seem insignificant, because those small steps that we can take that don't seem related can all feed back into something very profound. You know, holding the door for somebody with their hands full at the store or something. You know, most doors are on their little thingy, but you get what I mean, right? Yeah, auto doors, not thingy. Sorry. Only the best language for my viewers. So Dream Thief is like, I feel like in this circumstance, it's reminding us of how we have responded before to the pressure of emergence, because we've had the inkling to emerge, the inkling to reconnect and to rededicate ourselves to our passions and to our plans and our future desires. And so those early cards, the mystical shaman is looking forward. He's saying, what do I want from life? I want, in my case, beautiful gardens that I can share with others. I want to make other people's gardens beautiful and have them be able to share those with others. I want to help people with physical pain, with emotional, mental, energetic pain, right? And so my calling has been to do this, but in order for me to reach the number of people that are receptive to my specific voice, I needed to get out of this little baby puddle of my tiny little hometown and the people that I knew, because the people I know are not necessarily the people that can understand the work. They're not necessarily the people that are on the same soul path. They're not the people that are going to, I mean, they want to support me perhaps, but it's not their thing, maybe. And so maybe your early experiences and perception of failure was based on not being in front of the right audience, not having the right people with their butts in the seats, so to speak. And so refusal of the call is like, don't take that as evidence of your future manifestation or future limitations. Those limitations belong in the past where they occurred, and in the future we can conjure more, because we are not the same person. We're going to be no longer the seed, but we're the flower that gets pollinated now, right? The bees can find us. The people can see the beauty of a flower, but they don't necessarily appreciate the value of a seed. So this seems a bit of a stretch to some of you, I'm feeling. But refusal of the call it's more than just limiting ourselves. It's not even trying at all sometimes, or to take the safe road. Like I have been told recently, well, why don't you just take a job real quick at this place or that place, which would be an entry-level job, minimum wage, and it would be long hours, hot, seasonal work, and it would be a lot of efforting. And if you're a healer, efforting is not the path that you're probably on. You're on the path of discovering how to magnetize, align, and then take action from that point. And so the call is perhaps to follow your own passions and to let your passions guide you, to let your ancestors tell you, you know, your joy is important. Follow this thing that you're really into, and then meet somebody that has a mutual interest. Like if you're looking for your forever person or something like that, you know, and feeling like, oh, you've tried this, you've tried that, you've been on here, you've been there, you've gone to cool places and parks and nothing has really stuck. Maybe you've been on dates, but by not expecting, like, oh, I'm going to go out and I'm going to look for a person, that expectation leads to disappointments, and those disappointments lead to refusal of the belief that it's possible in those little pieces of the self, like, well, I've already done that. Well, don't be defeated, I want to say, because following your calling makes you magnetic. Following your passion shows your authentic self. And instead of the expectation of getting rewarded for something, the reward is in the journey. The reward is in the time spent with your creative passions. And yeah, so it doesn't know about the union, yet it stands tall and direct in its passion. It's like, yeah, this is exciting. This is amazing, you know? Because I didn't even ask her for any of that stuff. She was asking me all these questions. Wow, you know your stuff. Wow, you want a job? Wow, you want to barter? Hey, you know, do you do this other thing that's not even on my resume, that I'm not even going to say because I'm not certified, but there you go. Maybe you don't need the qualifications to work for someone, or have a client that will come and see you that doesn't care about those things. They like your energy. They trust your essence. They trust your heart and your soul and your potential. You know, don't get caught up in having to or feeling like you have to present yourself in some type of a way, or to be something other than your divinity. And then next we have this jeweled web connectivity. So getting out and reconnecting to your soul, your passions, your calling helps you to be connected to other individuals that are also seeking you. So what you seek is also seeking you, because that is the nature of energy. Energy is always moving towards the path of least resistance. It's always moving towards excitement, curiosity, what pulls you, what compels you. And so connectivity is like two magnets drawing each other together. And that's how synchronicity happens. Somebody has what you need, and you need what they have. Or there may be like a five people in a group, and then it's like this person needs that person, but it's not exactly reciprocal between two. But then if this person then does with this, then this person needs this person, and then this person needs these two, but not this one. You know what I'm saying? There's this, within a group, everybody has their specialty, everybody has their skill, everybody has their unique passion. And the quicker and the faster that we honor and appreciate and live in the gratitude and the guidance of that passion, the more easy it is for us to find the other members of our soul tribe and to find that connectivity. So for some of you, it may take being involved in something in like that bigger puddle is like taking your craft from your small town, where a farmer's market, where people think, oh, well, those gemstones and that healing stuff looks like a little bit of suspicious and not something I'd be into, That's some people's small town mentality. Or, oh, I don't know, my preacher says that I should be afraid of cards. I've heard that one before. But yeah, moving out into a bigger environment where there's a huger audience, such as the World Wide Web, helps you to, there are unlimited potential individuals out there, and some will like certain aspects of your craft and your personality, and other people will like other aspects. So, when you put yourself out there, do take care to not edit the beauty out of your craft and out of your personality, because people like the real you, because people know when people aren't being 100%. So there's something here about reaching out, maybe putting some posts out there. Don't be afraid to cross-connect and to tell people out on your social media outlets or whatever else. Tell people about what you're up to. Show them your creative projects. Maybe some people won't think it's amazing, but it's not for them. Don't let their inability to appreciate your craft stall you or make you retreat back again, because it's time for this new beginning for you. So your energy may be this subtle hummingbird energy that's difficult to perceive, maybe too humble for certain people to understand. But yeah, this dragon's horde protecting the future here is like protecting your future is by taking those small steps that you can take now. Maybe you can't take a big, huge leap of faith, but maybe you can take pen to paper and write a story. Maybe you can draw a picture and put that out there. People love seeing things like that. Flying out of the code cards, we've got first, communication. That is definitely what we're looking at here. Is the calling is to emerge authentic, aligned, and to connect and show. Oh my goodness, I am sorry I keep doing this. There's this little fly going crazy in here. Whole barn probs, I tell ya. Communication is all about showing people, speaking your truth, using your voice, using your choice, getting out there and showing yourself. Because communication is more than just verbal. It's more than written. It's more than even your writing, and it's your energy. The frequency of communication supports our ability to exchange information in many different forms. It reminds us to run every piece of information, both incoming and outgoing, through our heart, the center of our truth, to stay in the flow of source and balanced exchange. So even our energy and our nonverbals come through with really deep messages about who we are and where we're at mentally, emotionally, and energetically. And people respond to things that resonate with where they're at, where they have been, and where they want to be. Their timelines and your timelines are intermingling at that point when they perceive you and you're radiating. Then you can resonate. So Merkaba coming next. This is an expansion of your energy. That's what I'm talking about or seeing here, is there's this bursting out. Like maybe somebody burst your bubble back when you got out there. Maybe you had some trolls come in. Maybe you were afraid of trolls, or maybe the failure kind of made you kind of burst your bubble, and then you saw clearly how daunting it is to step out of that comfort zone. But with that initial communication, the ball was rolling, the seed was planted. And here we have, with that new beginnings clarifying, that Merkaba, this is the expansion point where you can see clearly that and delight is under the deck. I love that delight card. It's the only one in this deck that comes across with that color palette. I just love it. But yeah, it's yeah, I want to read this one as well. It supports our ability to use our consciousness to traverse into other layers of reality and dimensions. It activates our access to our Akashic inheritance as well, merging the totality of our experiences into our present to serve our highest purpose. So Merkaba also is, think of this, traversing other layers of reality and dimensions. And what is time but a dimension of reality? It's a construct that there is this aging process, a divine timing. And so when we're talking about this intermingling timelines between ourselves and soul tribe and reconnecting to that, when we're looking at our past, thinking about the present, and imagining and ideating the future, we are actually putting our efforts into building all of those timelines. If you can follow me, we can still build the past, we can still build the future, even though it isn't here yet. But our power lies in the present, and how we can resolve the past and the future is in the present tense. And by taking those small steps that are, it takes into context the totality of the experiences that we have had, that we want, and that we're enmeshed within at the moment, and the ones we're giving ourselves permission to go out and find. So, and it helps us to merge those with the present to serve our highest purpose of healing, or whatever this thing is, your craft, your skills, your influence in this world, your legacy. Oh, perfect. I swear to you, I've been sitting here and actually shuffling, but delight popped out under the hummingbird. The hummingbird ancestral wisdom here wants you to follow those subtle cues, to follow your delight and your passions. What makes you feel good? What makes you come alive? What makes you feel bonded and connected to other individuals and to your experience at large? The frequency of delight supports our capacity to create and experience feelings of intense joy and happiness. The more delight we feel, the more delight we evoke in others. And maybe that's why this lady gave me free things, because I was like, ooh, what's that? Oh my goodness, is that such and such? And she said, oh, well, that blooms this time. I'm like, oh, well, blah, 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 blah. And she says blah, blah, blah. And then there's a connection. And because she was getting complimented on her garden, she was able to give me the tour. It feels amazing. Plants, after you've got the initial plant in your yard, it costs people nothing. But it's a delight for them to share it with somebody who will appreciate it and build with it, right? So, yeah, maybe you just need to get out, and when you're in your place, there's going to be something that is gifted to you, quite literally, like myself. So under the deck is conception. So in order for us to have those experiences find us, we do need to get out and have the wherewithal to create those experiences for ourselves. We need to go and choose to have them. Authority comes out to clarify dream thief, refusal of the call. Authority says, the frequency reminds us that true authority is powerful, directed, and realized. yet receptive, wise, and loving. So this to me is all about knowing what you want, knowing what you like, knowing what that calling is, hearing those callings to you and those whispers of subtle, oh, stop there today. Oh, I don't have time today. Well, time is irrelevant. Time is an illusion. Maybe you do have time. And if you honestly cannot make time this day, put it down in your agenda to go back there and make a plan to do so. So I think also part of the presentation that's happening when you're having these conversations is important too. Like speaking from your highest, being quite honest and authentic is powerful and direct. Because how many people are comfortable being real? Not very many. And so that is something that people witness as an anomaly. Something that's just, wow, that person is real. I can't believe it. And being somebody who's self-realized, self-actualized, whether just in self-awareness or in searching out new things, or, I complimented her and I told her how amazing it was that she helped other people with their gardens as well. And so I told her how much I loved helping people. So there comes the receptive nature, because that is my gift, is helping others is its own gift. And the wisdom that comes from understanding that and following that path and loving that process, right? So clarifying the authentic self, many masks, tantric journey. I feel like this is the inner battle, the inner battle is a difficult word, but sometimes it does come through feeling like that in ourselves. But it's the journey of breaking through barriers, of feeling that you need to self-censor or edit things out. Like, there are many times where I'm not sure if the person is going to think, you're a witch, you're the Satan's child with these cards. It's like, oh boy. I mean, because I don't need to call that into myself. Sometimes I avoid telling people with my authority, I am a healer. I am a psychic. I am a YouTube person. I am a gardener. I am all of these things. And why are these things something that I should hide from anyone? And if they judge me, then fine, let them judge me, let them fear me, and I'll find the next people. But if you don't tell people what you're up to, if you never show yourself, no one will know. No one will find you. Your soul tribe will think you're just a stranger. So it's that inner journey of that, the divine matrix putting pressure on us to retreat back into the heart and into the soul, into the center of our truth, to stay in the flow of source and balanced energy. Because what is tantric journey but that balanced flow of Shiva and Shakti energy, the Kundalini rising and falling, that intermingled energy, Ida and Pingala, I think they're called. And it's the inner masculine, feminine, the fire and the water that are seemingly oppositional, right? Because water puts out fire. But when they're blended correctly, you can create a sauna, a steam bath. You can boil water on a fire. There's these alchemical shifts that can happen when the process is applied correctly, when we're in the right environment, when we have the right people to approach, and when we have the right energy, when we come at it, when we're ready for the divine matrix to respond to us, when we're ready with open arms and open hands to receive of our blessings, they will present. So yeah, if it's not your circus, not your monkeys, then don't pay attention to it. Use your energy to really get into your passions and into your craft, and to believe that you prosperity, to really believe that by getting into this, this is your calling. This is something that can make you money. This is something that brings spiritual gold, spiritual abundance into your world. And prosperity lies under connectivity, the jeweled web. So putting yourself out there and connecting or reconnecting to your platforms, to your people, to your clients. People want to give you their money. So protect your future. Keep that tidy home. And that to me is 55 on the timer. Tidy house is the clarity and organization within yourself, putting things in their proper perspectives, in their proper places. It's all about cleaning up the inner landscape and our outer environment, and then following our intuition down the unmarked trail, down the path of least resistance is the path of joy, right? What feels the best is moving towards something that feels really good. And I'm not talking about the temporary relief of indulgence in an addictive or obsessive pattern, obviously. I'm talking about the true clarity and enlightenment that happens by something that reaches deep into that center of our truth, into the center of our heart and soul. And under the deck, we have healing, and sacral chakra is showing here. And I'm seeing divine masculine at the split here, was under there. So it's time for us to reach out in a new way. So I think that is plenty. That was a longer message than I thought, but I really hope you guys get out there and claim your abundance and get those gifts, receiving your gifts, and working on your own inner reserves that help you to put that out there, because it is time for you to emerge. Thank you so much, as usual. So check in next for the you versus them, and we're leaving all of this out on the table, and we're going to find out specifically how to activate the prosperity and how to clue into this a little bit better for you. What is the meaning per sign? So take care of yourself and check that out if you are called to. Talk to you soon. Bye.